Today we'll be taking a tour through the new CGIAR service portal. We'll start off by looking at this main landing page. This is the public-facing page that most service users will initially engage with. We see a brief overview of the service portal and the services currently available through the service portal. A new service user will start off by submitting a request to create a new account. They'll enter their email address. This will then allow them to populate the fields below their email address, as well as select the services they wish to access. If I select this drop-down, you'll see that we have the option to access the lab services made up of genotyping and elemental analysis, and the service user has the option to select operational services. Once the request has been submitted, the management teams overseeing these services will make a decision on whether to accept or reject the request for a new account. If I am an existing user, I can simply sign in the top right-hand corner of my screen. I'll enter my email address as well as my password. Once I've logged in, I will land up on my main landing page. I can see my contact details on the right-hand side of the screen. I have the option to update these details if need be. I can also view the services I have access to at the top of my screen. A useful feature is the landing page feature. I can select a specific landing page I would like to access each time I enter the service portal. Let's say, for example, I would like to automatically land up on the genotyping page each time I log in. I can simply select the drop-down, select genotyping. Then when I log out and log back in, I will automatically land on the genotyping page. The first service we're going to review is the operational services. So once I select operational services, I will see a brief overview of the service, as well as details of my present and past orders. If I wish to view all requests in the system or create a new request, I'll select the View Create Request button in the left-hand navigation. This will bring me to an overview table where I can view all requests submitted in the system over time. I can view all requests, including closed requests, by selecting the Show All Requests button. This will reveal requests that have now been closed and completed, in addition to requests that are submitted or currently live. I will see that each request has been ordered according to the request number. I can view other details about the requests, including the title. This allows me to search for requests that are similar to my request to ensure that I'm not duplicating efforts if a colleague has already submitted the same request. I can simply type a keyword into the search bar below title to search for similar requests. Let's type in system, and this will reveal all requests that contain this keyword system, and I can review these requests to ensure I'm not duplicating efforts. I can also see who has submitted these requests and the date of submission. I can create a new request using the Create New button on the left-hand side of the screen. This will allow me to select a specific system of interest. I can also select the request type. Let's say, for example, training. And I can enter a nice descriptive title for my request. Right, you'll notice if there is a spelling error, the misspelled word is underlined in red. I can simply select the word using the right button of my mouse and select the correct word as suggested by the system. I can then add further details to describe my request, and I can also include an image to provide further information on this request. I can copy and paste an image to provide further details, and I can select save once the request has been completed. Once this has been saved, I will see my new request appears in the system. An email will be sent to the management team to notify them that a new request has been submitted, and the management team will have the opportunity to review the request and change it from submitted to live once action is in progress. I can also view my request by selecting the edit pencil. I can enter comments below. These comments will be received by the management team. I might enter a comment should I wish to add further information to my request. You'll notice the status bar here. The admin user will have the opportunity to manually adjust the status. If I return to my overview table, I'll notice a few additional features in this overview table. I can order my table and group my table according to one of these columns. Let's say, for example, system. If I simply drag system into the pivot table area above the table, you'll notice that the table has now been sorted according to system. This allows me to focus on a specific system and all the requests that form part of that system. I can return this column back to the table. I can also select specific columns and deselect columns if I wish to simplify my table. Let's say, for example, we wish to hide the request type and the date of submission. This results in fewer columns in my table. I can also export all the data in this table by using the Excel export button on the right-hand side of my screen. This will result in a new Excel file, which I can open. And this will reveal the exact table that I have in my system, including the new selection of columns. Let's return to our Hub home page, where we will now review the lab services. The lab services are made up of genotyping and elemental analysis. Both services function in a very similar way. We'll review elemental analysis first. So once again, when I access elemental analysis, I will see a brief overview of the service as well as all of my past and present orders. I have the option to create a new nutritional analysis request and view all of my requests. If I wish to create a new request, I simply select New Nutritional Analysis Request. I will notice the tabs for each page that requires information at the top of my screen. There's a status bar above each of these pages, notifying me that information is required. I will review all the information on each page. Page 1 provides a brief overview of what is expected in each tab. Once I've read through this information and I understand the information, I can tick these two boxes and simply select the Save button. You'll notice that the status bar has now changed above this tab to completed, and the color has changed to green. In the customer information page, I will now enter my contact information as well as the invoicing and payment information. The autofill feature in the service portal is very useful. I can simply use the contact details I have in the system to autofill the fields, and specifically the required fields in the customer contact information section. You'll notice that automatically these fields that are required are populated. I can add alternative contacts should I wish for any other people to receive correspondence regarding my request and the order that is submitted to the lab for analysis. I'm required to enter my payment information at the bottom of this page. I have the option to select charge account or invoice. Once the required information has been completed, I can return to the top of my page and select save. Confirmation of the save will appear in the center of the screen. I will now enter my order details for the specific order. I'll notice that a unique identifier and order number has automatically been generated for this order. The same procedure takes place for genotyping orders. I'll select my crop type and the lab that will analyze my samples. I will now enter my sample information. I'll enter the matrix type and the volume of the sample. I will also select the analysis type for elemental analysis. I have the option to select individual analysis types or select all. I can also add additional samples if need be. Once I'm satisfied with my samples, I can select the Save button, and you'll notice the table at the bottom of the screen will update. I can review my samples, and I can also update and change the details of these samples if need be. I simply select the tick box next to one of these samples, select Update Selected Samples, and I can make the necessary changes. I will see these changes have been reflected in this table, and I can confirm accuracy of these changes. Once satisfied, I can now submit my order. I'm automatically returned to my overview table where I can view all orders that I've submitted, all orders that are under review. Currently, I can see I only have one order in the system, and this order is under review. I can confirm that by viewing the status of this request. I can view and confirm the date created and the order number. I can select this hyperlink to view the order and the details of this order. The management team overviewing the service will review the order and sign off on this order. We're now going to view the service from the perspective of a management or admin user. I will go to view all requests, and here I can see this order that has just been submitted. The admin user will have the opportunity to sign off or reject the order. Let's say, for example, there's an issue with the charge account code. I will send a comment to the service user to ask them to change the charge account code. I will send this message. The service user will receive an email. I can reject the order, apply this change, And here you will see the status of this order has changed from under review to rejected. We'll confirm this on the user's end. And here we can see the status has changed to rejected. If I open this order and navigate to the comments and sign off page, I can review the details and the change that is required. I, as the service user, can access the customer information section and change the charge account code as needed. I can save this information and resubmit the order. The status will now change back to under review. The admin user will note that this order is under review. They will also receive an email to notify them that the order has been resubmitted. They can then review the order details, and once satisfied, they can sign off on this order. Once that is applied, the status will change to signed off. The service user will be notified, and now they have the opportunity to add their shipping details for the specific order. They will enter their order details for shipping and select the save button. Once that is done, they have the opportunity to print their shipping form. The shipping form will accompany the samples that are sent to the lab for analysis. The process has now been completed, and the lab will correspond the findings directly with the service user. I'll now navigate to the genotyping service under lab services, just to note the similarities between these different services. I have the option here to create a new LDSG or DAR tag request for MDSG orders. I can also view all requests that I've submitted. And I also have the opportunity to view the marker database and all the current markers available for LDSG requests. If I create a new LDSG request, you'll notice that the same initial tabs are present. The instructions page, the customer information page, the order details page, and then we have a few additional tabs for genotyping specifically. We have the status tab or the status bar above each of these pages and tabs. So let's quickly create one of these orders. I'll autofill the contact details once again, as well as the invoicing and payment information. I'll add my order details. I'm also required to add my plate IDs or my plate information. I'll add a unique ID code to note the different plates. Once I'm satisfied with this information, I can select the save button and I can confirm the plate ID numbers and the number of plates that I would like to submit for this order. I will see that the tabs 4 and 5 have been auto-completed. I can add additional or optional comments for each plate ID, as you see at the bottom of the screen in this table, by selecting the edit pencil. I can view my sample list. And once again, if I have a unique identifier for each sample or for certain samples, I can add this information in this table at the bottom of my screen. This would take a significant amount of time to add and manually add the sample names for each of these samples. Fortunately, in the system, we have a very powerful feature to bulk upload information. What I will do is simply download this table as an Excel file. I will then have the opportunity to add and bulk add the customer sample names for all of my samples in this list. I can also add subject barcodes and any necessary comments for these samples. Once I've added this information, I can upload the same Excel file and the changes will be reflected in this table within the system. I have the option to view my plates from a bird's eye view. I'll also note the control wells. And for LDSG orders, I have the opportunity to add my markers. I can once again select all or select specific markers as needed. I can also search for specific markers. Once I'm satisfied, I can save this information and once again submit this order for review. And the same process will take place where one of the management team will review the order and either sign off or reject the order. Once the order has been signed off, the service user will once again have the opportunity to add their shipping details and print their shipping form. We'll return to the home page. There's one final powerful feature in the system that we'd like to show you. You'll notice the tickets button on the left-hand side of the screen. If I select tickets, this will take me to a new page with a new overview table. This module allows service users and admin users to log any bugs in the system or potential bugs in the system, to ask questions regarding specific modules, and to also make suggestions to further enhance the system. I can review all tickets submitted for all services over time to once again ensure that I'm not duplicating any tickets that have already been submitted by a colleague or a fellow service portal user. Once again, each ticket will receive a number. I will also be able to view the request area that the ticket relates to, the ticket type, the descriptive title, who submitted the ticket, the date of submission, and the status of that submission. I can also view all closed tickets by selecting Show All Tickets, and this will reveal those tickets that have now been completed as well. If I wish to submit a new ticket, I simply select Create New, select the area of interest, select the ticket type, and once again, include a descriptive title as well as a description of the ticket specifically. I can also once again add screenshots if need be to further describe this ticket. And this concludes our tour of the CGIAR service portal.